This video is brought to you by Mug Life. No, it's actually called Kettle Mugs, but I like the idea of Mug Life. This is the 20 kg Club Purple Hearts collection. Go get yours. Of course, this mug is 20 kg heavy. Yes, you were right. You'll find it in the first link in the description. Worldwide shipping included. Grüezi miteinander, Gregory von Lebe Stark here. I've had a great conversation with my brother Joey Alvarado, aka Kettlejitsu. Mind you, he's an OG in the kettlebell world. So we have this conversation going, and all of a sudden Joey asks me the question and says, Gregory, how much do you actually think Pavel Tsatsouline is working out? I was like, that's a great question. And what followed was a great conversation about Pavel Tsatsouline's contribution to the kettlebell world, as well as his value as a coach. The reason why I want to share this on the main channel right now is because I want to get your opinion. What do you think? Is Pavel Tsatsouline working out with swings and dips all the time? Because that's what he said on Joe Rogan's podcast? Let me know in the comments. So without further ado, roll the film.
Let me ask you a question. How often do you think Pavel actually works out with kettlebells?
I mean, that's when I think he got hurt along the way or whatever, but realizing, that's one of the things, realizing that you see him rarely do anything.
And that's what I noticed in the beginning. I was like,
yeah, that's
everybody would be like, oh, Pavel, he's amazing. I was like, okay, what is he amazing at?
And I think
I was like, I can't find any videos of him working out. I can see videos of him demonstrating a couple of moves and stuff like that.
Yeah,
yeah. I never see him working out with kettlebells. I never see him doing anything. I would see Steve working out.
Yeah.
And Maxwell.
Yeah, and Maxwell both.
See all these guys actually working out.
Yeah.
I was like, these guys are passionate about business.
Yeah.
And I always just thought that Pavel was a businessman. And what happened was when he split with RKC, I remember all the RKC ads and because he was pulling out ads in like martial art magazines and stuff like that. And it was like, the kettlebell, it is the AK-47 for Russian Spetsnaz, it's the ultimate tool, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And then all of a sudden he's doing barbell. Like CrossFit got big, and then they were like, oh, we got to start doing, body weight's big too. Okay, let's do it. Then he created Strong First and started doing body weight, and barbell and stuff like that, right? So, okay, well, I guess that's the Russian kettlebell wasn't the special secret weapon that he said it was, really.
Yeah.
So then to confirm this was, for me, was the Joe Rogan podcast. Which when did you see that when he was on that podcast?
Yeah. I saw it.
Incredibly awkward interview. Did you get that vibe? I got that vibe right away. Joe would ask him questions, and he just, "How old are you?" Oh,
about his age. I knew that comes up. We don't share that.
And
come on, Joe. Come on.
For me, no, man. Like, come on, dude. Come on,
dude.
By the way,
how old are you?
I'm 51 years old.
Yeah.
So you know.
Okay.
I have no problem with that.
Awesome.
It's a secret. I don't want anybody to know how old I am. You know. So I thought that was funny, and then Joe was like, "Okay, well, what do you do to work out?" I do swings and dips, and I was just like, "Oh my god!" I was like, I'm glad he just spit out what I've been saying all this whole time, and I give him respect because I really feel that he's one of the reasons that started the kettlebell boom.
Yeah,
but it wasn't just him; it was whoever helped market.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think it was the Duquesne and them.
John Duquesne. So I had a convo with him, Joey. I had a conversation with John Duquesne.
Is he the one who worked with Pavel back in the day?
Yes. He came from that Qigong vibe. The first time he saw Pavel was when Pavel was the stretching master from Russia. And I even saw an advert, man, Frank Shamrock, the guy, one of the UFC guys. I saw him posting an image because I follow him on Facebook. So he posts an image. He says, "Hey, look at this, me back in the day on one of those old adverts." So you see his face, right? And then down below you see Pavel, and that's what it says, Russian Stretch Master, right? So it was, for me, I realized when I had this convo with John, he said, what Pavel had was, he had the knowledge of being a coach, and he was incredibly charismatic, and he had this shtick. So he created this mismarketing idea. And
They
so
created,
that's the idea, and that's what people be like. Yeah, the Spetsnaz train with it, bro, man. It's a marketing gig. Of course, you have some special units having kettlebells in their gym. Man, you can probably tell them from everybody, right? That's normal.
You're like, that's not when people say, "Oh, I train special forces," man. I'm like, whatever, dude. Like, just because you train a couple guys one time, you didn't. It's not like the Spetsnaz hired you to come in and train them every day or anything. You probably showed a couple. I train special forces, SEALs, SWAT team, and shit all the time, man. You know, they train at the gym, train jiu-jitsu, train kettlebells, whatever. Like that's just a shtick that they're trying to create. They created this whole mythological character.
Yeah, this persona, and it worked. It worked like, great. Right?
He's amazing. He's amazing. All this guy's incredible. I'm like, well, what is he amazing at? I don't see him doing anything. So then when he said that on Joe Rogan, I just laughed and I was like, see, I just been saying this whole time. He's not. How can anybody that is passionate about fitness feel satisfied after doing a workout with only dips and swings? And then he said, because it has the most carryover. I'm like, carryover to what? You don't do anything. You're not an athlete. You're not an athlete. You don't teach classes. What is it carrying over to? I mean, you're smart enough to know that you are not going to get enough out of just doing dips and swings, brother. No, man. There's just no way.
No. I mean, no. It's and that's when people sometimes ask, is they say, "Hey, I've heard the swing is the greatest exercise." I think the swing is awesome, but there's one thing that's lacking. What? Well, overhead movement. You're not pressing. You're not over. What's the upper body doing? Right?
Yeah. Oh, a lot of overhead pressing.
That's important, right?
Pressing from the floor.
Yeah, and from the floor. But let me just push back a little bit, Joey, because I think I've read some of Pavel's books. I followed some of his teachings, and what I see is that there is value that he and credit to him, value that he was able to gather through him and other people. So because he had this marvelous combination back in the day of, you had John Duquesne, the marketing power, and John said this about Pavel. He said, well, Pavel is a brand guy. He knows how to create, how to brand himself. And John was the direct marketing guy. So then you have a Dan John coming in, a strength coach with a vast experience teaching people coming in. Then you have a Steve Maxwell from the martial arts world coming in, bringing the Turkish get-up in the curriculum. Then you have Steve Cotter becoming a mastermind as well. Then you have a Sean Mosen from Canada hailing in, getting that stuff. And then, of course, you have this great combination of people. And what Pavel does, what I think he does well, is he created value, wisdom, and knowledge from other people and from him as well, which I think has carryover into just plain reality. When it comes to teaching certain exercises, when it comes to, for example, I love simple and sinister. I love the idea of explosiveness. I think high tension techniques, like he got this from martial arts, right? That's what John shared with me. High tension techniques make sense because you probably realize this as well. Some people are just so loose they can't even contract the muscle. They have. It takes them an hour to turn from the non-active to the active state, right? So they need to develop some power. So this is most definitely where I see value. But, and here's the big but, and that's why I didn't run with Strong First and didn't run with RKC. I think they created, or maybe he created this himself, a persona who seems to be infallible, who's almost a god. For example, his cardio work. His cardio, I think, is the Pavel quick and dead, right? The quick and dead. I've had conversations with Valery Fedorenko, who's a master of sport, a legend in the kettlebell sport world, with Arseny Zhernakov, another honored master of sport. So I asked them the question. I said, listen, this idea from Pavel when it comes to building endurance. So I shared what Pavel is saying. And I love what Valery said. He said, well, you know, what is the first thing you have to do when you run a marathon? I said, well, you tell me. Building up the volume. You go run.
Yeah.
That's how you build endurance. But if you tell me that you run 100 meters full speed and then you stop, and then you run 100 meters again and you stop, you're not going to be able to run a marathon, right?
Yeah, you're training for something else.
Yet you're training for something else. So that's and like you mentioned in the Joe Rogan podcast, carryover. Yeah, for what? I mean, carryover for what?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
the dips are a great exercise, but some people have messed up shoulders, and they're not able to be able to carry their own body weight, right? So
Exactly.
yeah. But I see where you're coming from, Joey. Most definitely.
Yeah. So to me, like you were saying that to me it was more like I got more of like a culty vibe.
Yeah.
Like from that and stuff, and I was like, I'm not really like into like hero worship and stuff like that. And when people like on a pedestal like that, and they make them a god, I'm like, that's a little too intense for me, because I mean, I love my martial arts master, my jiu-jitsu master, Haja Machado, but I don't like look at him as a god or anything like that. I don't want anybody to think of me like that either, man. I'm just a normal person, you know, and just with ideas, you know.
Yeah.
And that loves to work out. I love training. I love training jiu-jitsu. I love teaching. Yeah. So I mean, to each their own. Everybody's different. Some people, you know, they like that type of stuff. But when it starts getting a little culty and stuff like that, I wasn't. And like I said, with that interview with Joe Rogan, it was kind of funny. It was hard to watch for me. I was just like, because it didn't really look like Joe was really, you know, connecting with him good, because he's real secretive about all his stuff and this and that. And, you know, like, I don't know. He's a trippy guy, man. He is charismatic. He has his own style, man.
And you know, I think one of the reasons, Joey, why Pavel was so secretive is, and that's just my guess, but John Duquesne said, in real life, Pavel was a gentleman, a sweet in nature, great to have a conversation with. But I think, and that's what sometimes I think, where some Instagram people have to be careful, because if you create a persona or a shtick or a certain set of crazy kettlebell exercises, whatever have you, and people start following you for this, you better keep this up for your whole life.
Yeah. That's probably what. Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, I guess.
So if you're natural, I mean, if you have like we are having a conversation,
you got to keep acting forever.
Yeah, you gotta have that persona.
You gotta stay in character.
In character, you can't lose it, because people are like, is that Pavel? Who's that dude? Yeah. So maybe that's just my guess. And you mentioned culty. I think that's what turned me off as well. Two things turned me off. First of all, the cultish vibe. What he says counts, when at the same time, listen, man. I developed this notion. I say, take every expert's opinion as guide and not as a gospel, right?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
So they say something. If this person is intelligent, I listen. But this doesn't mean just because I listen and that this person is intelligent that I automatically default to that's the way to do it. No, I have my right.
And that was the mentality of those organizations, is like whatever Pavel said, was set in stone, and you couldn't do anything else. You know, and that's and I think, but to their credit now, those guys have opened up now too.
Yeah.
You know, those guys are more. They understand. They see. They were telling me back in the day, hey, that kettlebell flow shit is bullshit. Pavel doesn't like it, blah, 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 blah. But now, like, look what happened.
Yeah.
It's evolved, and it's evolving. It's almost like the norm now. And I think they have become more accepting of it. But I think back then, they were those type. And I'm not saying everyone, but that seemed to be. I wasn't getting any hecklers from Steve Maxwell's organization. I wasn't getting any hecklers from Steve Cotter's organization. Yeah. It was mostly from the really traditional RKC and Strong First guys.
And you know what's crazy? John said, we wanted to become the authority. And
they did. And
they did. And one thing that I have to give even Pavel credit for, Pavel invited even Valery Fedorenko from Russia to the States to give seminars. But John said, nah, man, we got to stick to our own idea, because we're able to market this way better if we follow one type of idea. And I said, hey, from a marketing perspective, this makes sense. And then I asked him, I said, another question, John, what do you think created this divide in the forums? He said, well, it originated from the culture. And if something originates from the culture where you are the person in charge, then you are the one that's sending it down to your people. It's we are the good ones, these are the bad ones, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, from a business perspective, I guess you don't want anybody doing anything else but your stuff, but
yeah,
you can't really like box people in like that. Because then in the long run they're going to realize what happened, and they're going to want to get outside of that box, man. Like when you keep something from somebody, you know what I mean? So that's crazy, man. You talked to a lot of people. That's cool, John DeCane.
Yeah, it was a great conversation.
And you have to give credit to him and Pavel, because they're smart enough to know that there was a market for kettlebells, because nobody knew what to do with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're smart to know, like, hey, this kettlebell shit's cool, but nobody in America knows anything about it.
Yeah.
And they're smart enough, and they market it, and they definitely get credit for starting the whole kettlebell movement, bringing kettlebell awareness to the United States and all over the world, for sure.
And that's something that
but that's not my bag, baby.
Yeah. I think everybody agrees on this, but at the end of the day, you have to realize that it's if we stay close-minded, it's maybe just a question of time until somebody arrives who's more open-minded and then really takes off.
Yeah, like it's really boils down to is every individual is going to have their own journey. Yeah. You have to, I'm never going to say like Kettlejitsu is the best way to train kettlebells. I would love everybody in the world to do it, but this is not a smart way to think about it. You have to decide, you have to try different modalities, kettlebells, barbell, CrossFit, whatever, and see what suits you and suits your needs. And if you're getting the results from that, and you enjoy it and you're going to stick with it, then by all means stick with it,
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like it and consider subscribing, and don't forget to hit the bell button so you'll be notified every time we upload a new video. If you're looking for kettlebell courses that can help you lose weight, build muscle, and improve your kettlebell technique, then check out the Lebe Academy. Let us help you discover a new perspective on kettlebell training, making it simple and easy for you to understand. Join the waiting list of your desired course now and secure your spot when it's open for enrollment. Link is in the description.